Hello there, Hacking Self Stories listeners. It is Monday morning. It is the 21st of June. Actually, when I'm recording this, I tell a little bit of a lie. Well, when you listen to it, it's Monday the 21st of June. It is the 20th. I'm actually recording this at halftime on the Wales match. So last week, it was the most incredible week for us. Storage is just going berserk, and it's absolutely fantastic. So let's get into the figures. Amount of quotes was 64. Amount of quotes per day on average, that was 9.14. That is just phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, we're spending a lot of money on Google Ads. Of course we are. We're spending on average £1,000 a week on Google Ads, but it doesn't matter if we're getting the results. If you know, I've just been listening to Jay Abraham today, and Jay Abraham was talking about the lifetime value of a customer. If you don't know your lifetime value of a customer, he actually said, I feel sorry for you because your competition will eat you up and swallow you alive. And that's exactly true. You need to know, I need to know what the lifetime value of a customer is. If we know that, then we can go to war. We don't mind spending money on advertisements as long as we know what the win is for us when we get a customer. Once we know that, then we know that we can, for example, if I'm spending £140 for a customer, I know that if we're lifetime value of a customer is 700 and something, then at £1,000 or whatever, then we're winning. So please, if you don't know your lifetime value of a customer, we did an episode of this a couple of weeks ago, so make sure you know that. So the amount of reservations were 13. So out of 64 quotes, we did 13 reservations. That was a conversion rate of quotes to reservations of just 20.31%. So 20%. It's not ideal, but let's not forget, most of them customers will reserve in the future. Well, not most of them. A lot of them will reserve next week and the week after and the week after. And we've got to remember that we are nearly full as well at the minute. So it's hard making sure that we can juggle the customers at the present time. So number of forward move-ins out of those reservations were 2. That was 15.38%. Number of new move-ins were 16. So we had 16 new move-ins. That was a conversion rate from quotes to move-ins of exactly 25%, which for me is phenomenal. That's exactly where we want to be on the conversion rate for quotes to new move-ins. So the total, so was other move-ins were 3, and the total number of square foot moved in last week was 1,825. Come on, 1,825. And other move-ins were 3. So in total, we moved in 1,975 square foot. 1,975 square foot. Okay, number of times that the van was rented out. The transit was 5. The Luton was, come on, you know this is a favorite part of I sound such a geek. You know this is a favorite part of the podcast. What was it? Was it more? Was it less? Was it the same? Place your bets now. Tick, tock, tick. Dum, 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 boom. It was 6. The Luton won. Last week, the Luton won. So where did our quotes come from? We had Google, 49. By the way, the Italy versus Wales match second half have just kicked off. And I keep looking over there. Come on, Wales. I always spot the home nations. Right, so it's 1-0, by the way, Italy at the present time. So where did the quotes come from? Google, 49 quotes came from Google. That is a massive 77%. Word of mouth was 5%. Passing by was 9%. Beverly 24 was 1.56, so we're rounding things up and down. So that was 2%. Used before was 3%. Social media was 3, and that was 4.69%, so 5%. Estate agents, removals, blog, and Bing and leaflet was 0. Just so you know that I'm actually emailing Kerry, who is one of the sponsors of the podcast. If you want pay-per-clicks ads, you must go to Kerry. She is an absolute, I always call her the queen of pay-per-clicks. And I'm going to actually email her and say, look, we don't need to do Bing anymore because I think we're spending about, it's not much, maybe £150 a month on Bing advertisements. And it's just not worth it for me. And you don't know if it's not worth it. You don't know if it's worth it or not unless you test. So test. And that's exactly what we do here with Kerry. So we make sure that we test certain things. We test Facebook ads. We test pay-per-clicks. We test Bing. We want to test other things as well. And leaflets, we do leaflets, and we double down on what's working. We find the data, actual factual data, and once we know that, we double down on it. That's what we want to do. That's exactly, because you don't want to go on your intuitions. Exactly what I've been geeking out on him today. You don't want to go on your intuitions. What we want to do is make sure that we factually go on the data, because the data is a data is a data. That's the truth. And so once we have the data, once we know what works, then we spend money there. So what we want to be spending money on, from what I've learned so far, is Google Ads, because there's an intent. So we want to make sure that there's a search intent there from Google. We want to make sure we top of the listings and SEO. So we want to make sure that we are there, and we also want to make sure that our customers, present customers, feel loved, feel appreciated, and all that good stuff, to make sure that when they leave, they are, even before they leave, they are walking, talking billboards. So we need to invest in our customers as well. I can't describe to you how important that is, and we'll probably talk more about that in July when we do the monthly figures for June, because it's been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, the amount of move-ins that have come from word of mouth and used before. So yeah, it's fantastic. So total square foot moved in. Whoa. I'll tell you that in a minute when we have a word from our sponsors. Okay, we're back. So square foot, it always feels a bit weird because all I do is just like pause for 2 seconds. I'm like looking at the camera going, So square foot moved in last week was 1975. Square foot moved out was 975. So we were positive 4 figures, 1,000 square foot dead on. What a fantastic week. We was positive 1,000 square foot. I'm absolutely over the moon. So the amount of rooms moved in last week was 25. Amount of rooms moved out were 15. And by the way, this is just one site. This is just our Stormore site in Willoughby. And that means that we have got a total internal rooms occupied of 390. Containers in 0, containers out 0. We've got containers rented currently of 26. Car parking in, car parking out is 0. So car parking spaces rented is 14 at the minute. However, we may need to get rid of a couple of, we definitely do, because we've got loads and loads of outdoor units coming, and I'll tell you more about that when they come. They're supposed to be coming this week, and they've actually asked me, the company have asked me, do you have a forklift? No. And do you have somebody who can control a forklift? No. My sister's company has a forklift. However, they have nobody that can actually, who's qualified to come and assist. So yes, I can get a forklift probably, but it might mean that I'm the person unloading the stuff, the outdoor units. So that is going to be incredibly fun. So I'm the most I'm the most qualified because I have done it once before. Well, a number of times before, taking off containers and stuff before at Beverly 24. However, I have no idea what we're doing, or it takes me 10 minutes to figure out all the controls. Anyway, it should be fun. So they're coming either Tuesday or Thursday next week. So I will tell you more about that in the coming weeks, because if you've got a car park, you need to maximize the car park. Even if you're not full internally, you need to maximize the car park, because some customers, some businesses don't want to be going in with a trolley every single day. They want to be ease of use, coming inside the unit, just driving up to the container and driving out. That for me is we're ticking both boxes. So if you've got a car park, if you've got the facility to offer, get some containers, get some outdoor units, whatever it may be. Willbox are absolutely phenomenal. What I love about Willbox is, another sponsor of the podcast, is that they genuinely care. They genuinely care about the customers. And from what I can see, their product is not only the best, but it's, I want to say competitively priced, but from what I can see, it's the cheapest as well. And they've got the ventilation holes as well, not just 2, but they've got 14 ventilation holes, which is phenomenal. So you don't actually need to graphotherm it anymore because it's insulated. There's an airflow. Anyway, the guys at Willbox will tell you all about that, because that's not my area of expertise, but them guys are fantastic. So please utilize the space you've got. I was on a mastermind this last week, and it's interesting because this guy has turned his hotel into serviced offices, 3 different locations, and he's made a value on the property of £3 million on each one. And I'm like, so where's the next one? He goes, no, Dean, you don't understand. I'm not doing the next one straight away. I want to maximize. I'm going to do a whole new podcast on this as well. He said, I want to maximize the revenue and the profits from each of these before I move on to the next one. So property 1, I maximized it before I moved on to property 2. And then property 2, I maximized it before I went to property 3. Property 3, yes, I know I can get another £300,000 or £400,000 out of this per year. When I do that, I will then move on to property 4. But until then, I am not moving on. And he said, it's unbelievable to me. I paid £10,000 for one day just to be in the same room as this guy. And he's not saying anything that we didn't already know. However, his focus is different. Where he focuses his time and energy is different to where other people do. He said other people will move on to the next one and they're leaving money on the table. What I want to do is make sure there's an analogy that he says, but I'm going to say this analogy in another podcast. But basically, he wants to squeeze every single penny out of it. Make sure he wants to behave exactly like he would do if money was an issue. If he couldn't move on to the next one until he gained every scrap of revenue out of this facility, this serviced offices. And I respected that so much because this guy is a deca-millionaire, God knows how many times over. Money's not an issue, but he's worried about complacency. And he says so many people just go on to the next one, move on to the next, move on to the next, move on to the next. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that is exactly what, I can't say any names, but I know a self-storage company that for whatever reason aren't bothered about revenue. They're only bothered about occupancy. I don't know if it's something to do with the stock prices. I don't know if it's something to do with a management company, but I know the managers very, very well. And they're, it's not in my local area, but they are 96 point something full last time I spoke to them, but they're still discounting. And it's because their managers have bonuses on the occupational level, on the occupation side, rather than the actual revenue side. And for me, that's upside down. We should be giving bonuses on the revenue, because it doesn't matter if you're 70% full but taking £900,000 rather than being 95% full taking 650,000. I know which I'd rather be, but for whatever reason, the certain company runs it differently. I don't know if it's from the head office or if it's just being structured to the pay scheme. It's wrong. But therefore, when someone's paid a certain way, that's where their focus is going to be. And they're not focused on maximizing revenue. All they're focused on is maximizing their occupancy. And when you do that, you're leaving money on the table. And so it was a timely reminder for me that, yes, I want to go to Clough Road. I want to open there. But not only that, I want to open another one this year. Or I certainly want to make sure that we're going to be opening it early next year, very, very latest. And then I want another one early the next year, 2022. So we really want to expand. However, it was a timely reminder for me to make sure that, listen, are you maximizing everything you've got in your current location? Because all of a sudden, there's a shiny new object, there's a shiny new toy, and that becomes your focus. And it was just a light bulb moment for me to think, do you know what? I need to make sure that Stormore's doing well, but good is the enemy of great. And so what we need to do is focus on being great. We need to focus on maximizing the revenue rather than the occupancy. And so many people overlook that. And I don't know if it's a vanity metrics or something. Yeah, we're 92% full. I don't care how full you are. What's your revenue? That's what counts. What's the money coming in? What's the profit? What is it? Turnover is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash flow is king. Dan Bradby, boom, it's his book. Check it out. And that for me is something that some fairly sizable company, I don't want to get them in trouble, so I can't say who it is or where it is or anything like that. But some fairly sizable company in the industry is focused on the wrong metrics. And so we've got to make sure that we are focused on the correct metrics, and revenue is the only metrics that count. It's the big one. It's not the only one that counts. Obviously, there's other supporting, underlining ones, but it's a massive one. And so it was making sure that I understood that, and I wanted to make sure that I focused on the revenue. How can I maximize it? What can I do? How can I push the revenue? What can we do to drive that revenue upwards rather than the occupancy? So, okay, talking about occupancy, store occupancy, 90.32% full. Yes, we're above 90. 90.32% full. I'm over the moon with that. Absolutely terrific. Celebrations. Angela, James, and Vanessa all got a nice bonus, and we're going to do an episode about staff and how important they are on one Friday coming up, maybe even this week. I haven't recorded it yet. For me, it's so important. It's so important to look after your staff, and without my awesome staff, we would never, ever be where we are. So we're 90.32% full, and we're over the moon. Don't get me wrong, we've got lofty goals. At the minute, we're probably going to be taking £70,000 per month ex-VAT on this site. However, we want to be £1 million site. So what can we do from £70,000 turnover with 90% occupancy? How can we get to £83,333 turnover per month? What can we do? Don't worry, I'm going to document it. I'm going to show you how we're going to get there, and I promise you, we will get there. I'm hoping we'll be there before the end of the year, but yeah, we will be there. Next year, we'll be £1 million site, and that's the goal. And so it's crazy because we're 90% full now. How can we possibly earn an extra £14,000 a month? How can we do that? Got a few ideas, and I'm going to share them with you, obviously, and we'll see how we go, the team, etc. So weekly average sales per moving was 21.39, so 21 quid. Not bad. It's been better than normal, so that's improving. Let's have a look. Insurance. Amount of insurance sold this week was £116,000, and we had 16 new move-ins, so that was an average of 7,250 quid. Again, something most people miss is the opportunity to maximize the revenue through insurance. £7,250 was the average. That was the average that we sold for move-ins last week. Unbelievable. Fantastic. So the amount of move-ins due next week is another good week. We've got 18 move-ins due. 18! You are. That's brilliant. Average square foot due total square foot due next week is 1,410. So 1,410 square foot due next week. Square foot moving out next week is 635. So it could possibly be 1,000 square foot week again. Incredible. So for the month so far, I think at the minute we're 1,350. We're 1,350 square foot up for the month so far, which is beautiful. 1,350 square foot. So the revenue, let's have a look at the revenue, guys. I know you're interested in revenue. Stormore took £17,318.26 last week. Bounced, oh my Jesus Christ. I have actually looked at this before because I like to glance across the figures before I talk to you guys about it, just so I know which direction I'm going, but I missed this. Bounced direct debits is £1,038.24. Whew, at Stormore, just Stormore alone. Wow, that makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But you don't want to sweat the small stuff. I'm not saying that bounce direct debits are the small stuff, but what I only want to be informed when somebody owes me more is 28 days late. We've only got one person out of over, is it nearly 500 rooms. We've only got one person that owes of past 28 days. So it's 28 days late. So at the minute, we're doing very, very well on that front. So we can't argue, and I'm sure the team will be on it with £1,038.24 of bounce direct debits. I mean, it'd been an absolute bumper week for Stormore if we'd have taken that extra £1,000. But obviously, bounce direct debits, they don't count. So we've got a fantastic debt procedure. Again, if anybody wants to know our debt procedure, please hit me up, deanbooty@icloud.com. This is from other industries as well. It's not just from the storage industry, because as you know, that I suppose I'm a student of anything business, and we follow debt procedures from other people, other industries, and we've formulated our own debt procedure. And in the last year, we haven't written off any bad debt. We've not written off anybody's debt because we are on it. And so if you want to know what we do day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, we've got a whole system and a procedure about that. So deanbooty@icloud.com, BOOTY, and we can send you that straight out. And by the way, just want to say thank you so much for all the kind messages recently. It's been amazing the amount of feedback we're getting this last couple of weeks. So yeah, awesome stuff. Really, really, I love hearing about it. And I know that I need to reply to every single one person who, apart from one, I've replied to one person, and that's because they sent me 2 emails. But yeah, I know I need to reply to everybody. It's because last week was a bit of a blur for me because I was away 3 days and trying to catch up and trying to be a good dad and making sure I was taking the kids to school and picking them up on the days I was there. So yeah, Thursday and Friday, I was taking the kids to school and then picking them up and stuff. So yeah, I will reply to everybody. So thank you very much for all your messages. I love reading, especially when you tell me how much you love the show. That's awesome. Yeah, so keep doing it. Right, so how much did Beverly take? Beverly took a total of £2,284.51. Bounce direct debits, not as much, is 276. However, Beverly only has 89 units. And so in proportion, it's almost the same. So in total, we took £19,602 across the two sites. Let's have a look at the actual revenue versus true period revenue. So the actual revenue we're supposed to be taking at Stormore was £54,961.68, including VAT. And we have taken true period revenue. Sorry, that's what we've actually taken. Sorry, £54,961.68. I've done it the wrong way. And the true period revenue was £54,394.35. So it's a positive of £567.33. So over the moon there. True period revenue at Beverly was £9,659.62. And the actual revenue was £10,262.05. Now we've had somebody pay for a year at Beverly recently. So next week should be even more. So that should be fantastic. Yeah, so it's been a fantastic week for us. Really has. Like I say, self-storage is a gift that keeps on giving. So yeah, over the moon with everything. All right, guys, I know that the wife's just popped her head around the corner and my tea is ready. So I hope you guys are absolutely smashing it as well. And yeah, I'm very, very lucky. Very, very lucky. Yeah, this week we have got Tron coming on Wednesday, and then we've got an important one on Friday. I actually can't remember what the important one was. It must be important. It's on the Friday show. Let's have a look. See what. Oh yeah. The guy who was a decamillionaire. Blah blah blah. I asked him. Yeah. So we're going to talk about. Yes, it's really good. Is this absolutely really good? We're talking about maximizing your opportunity, maximizing your location, and we're going to run into the things how you can maximize your self-storage facility, because there is literally no way that my self-storage in Willoughby, in Hull, should be anywhere near £1 million a year, especially given the location and the size of a facility. It shouldn't. It just shouldn't. But we'll hit £1 million. Well, next year, if you want a full year of data, we'll hit it next year. However, we will hit that £84,000 sometime this month. And so how are we going to go about it? What we're going to do and what most people are missing. So I'm going to go through that. I'll probably record it tomorrow if I get a chance. So yeah, it's a really important episode because I believe that there'll be self-storages out there, myself included. I'm sure that we're missing something as well, because sometimes you can't read the label inside the jar. And that's exactly the situation of most business owners. And even the big boys, I know they aren't maximizing their revenue. I 100% know it after speaking to the managers, area managers, they're not. And if a big boys are missing it, then, Switzerland 3, Turkey 1. Yeah, if the big boys are missing it, then I know that independents are missing it as well, including myself. But if we all work together and we educate ourselves, and guess what? We can take on the big boys. If we, I don't know, like store local in America, if we pan together, then the ideas, like a mastermind, if we put all our ideas together, then guess what? We will find a way to really maximize that revenue and really take on the big boys. Okay, my friends, and if you are a big boy listening, sorry, we're taking you down. We're coming for you. All right, guys, girls, have a wonderful week, and I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening. The continued support is amazing. I genuinely appreciate it, because I couldn't have ever thought that I actually get recognized when I go and do a secret shop now, which is absolutely brilliant for me. I absolutely love it. The wife thinks I'm a bit of a geek. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to get going. Adios, my friends. Thank you. Have a wonderful week, as I'm trying to find the Zoom. There we go. Oh, God blimey. There we are. There's Zoom. Right, guys, girls, thank you so much. And I will speak to you guys later. See you soon. Have a great week. Bye-bye.